7 mistakes you should avoid. The same way you go to the gym, you use resistance to build muscle, is the same way you put resistance on your thoughts to expand the way that you think. So we're going to start off with the first mistake to avoid. Complaining about things that you can't control. You need to understand that when things happen in life or your past, or there's certain events that have happened, you need to understand most of the time we spend a lot of energy there without us even realizing. Sometimes we think, why did this happen? If only we could have changed it. And you stay in that mood because you want to go back and change it because you're upset with why it happened. There's either two things you can do. Because there's some things, some events, a passing away of a loved one or a breakup in a relationship. When these things happen, you can't control it. You can't just, you can sit there and tell yourself, I wish I can stop time. I wish I could stop feeling these emotions. I wish I can bring them back. Or I wish I could have done this or done that differently. As much as you say to yourself, I wanted to do this, why didn't I do this? It will never change what happened. And the thing is, you keep on looking back and you're not going back. You're not going that way. All you have is forward. And you need to understand that a lot of people, what they do is they overwhelm themselves with the future, that it stops them from moving in the present. And you need to understand, for you to get to the future is everything that you do in the present. You need to understand that many unpredictable things happen in life. And there's many things that you can't control. You need to understand that problems will come, problems will arise. You need to be able to overcome these problems. So how is a shift of perspective? Ask yourself, is the situation in my control? How can I adapt to this? And what can I learn from this? Understand that you either win or you learn. You never lose. If you lose, it's because you decided to give up and just stay in that situation. Over here, we're winners. Remember, you either win or you learn. As much as you complain about something that's happened that you can't control, all you're doing is creating a negative environment and you're creating discomfort for yourself. Why? Because as much as you complain, you can't do anything to change it. So what can you do? Change the way you react. Change the way you can go ahead moving forward. Your favorite vase broke. There is nothing you can do. It is broken. So what can you do? Just stay there and be upset because it's broken and stay in that same situation, or change the way you shift, make a change and just accept that it's happened and now move forward. That's the only thing you can do, because it's either you stay there or sooner or later you're going to understand that you're going to have to move forward. So why stay in that situation of discontent or feeling bad, feeling low, where you could just move on now? Number 2, stop seeking external validation. This one here was one that was very difficult for me to understand. But once you understand it, you need to continue working on it, because it's like a dim light bulb. You have a light bulb and when it slowly dims, before you even realize it's gone dim, it's like, oh, like it's very dim now. So it's gradual, it's a process. So that's why it's very important that you check yourself constantly. To stop seeking external validation to validate your thoughts. What do I mean by that? Sometimes you want to do something. Say we have an idea. Say we want to, I don't know, open up a business, or say we want to go out somewhere, or say we like this music, or say we like this t-shirt. Most of the time you ask for people for approval. What do you think of this? It's good to get a second opinion, but you can't let that influence you from deciding what you want to do, because if it makes you content, it makes you content. As long as it's in alignment with your purpose, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else around you, you need to be able to make decisions for yourself, because it's something that you want to make yourself happy, not everyone else. There's a saying that who keeps everyone happy is an enemy with himself, because it's impossible to keep everyone happy. Everyone has different opinions. Some people like green, some people like blue. The fact that you like blue, the person that likes green is not going to like you. The person that likes green the blue's not going to like you. So you need to understand that if you try to keep everyone happy, you're going to be an enemy of yourself. To understand that your worth doesn't lay in the hands and the opinions of others. You need to understand that their thoughts doesn't validate you. What do I mean by that? Their praise of our actions, whether they say we're good or we're bad, it doesn't validate who we are. Because you need to understand, if someone says to you, just a wild example, if you break car windows, we'll like you, you're a good person, like, we like you. But that goes against your morals. But you want to keep that person content, so you break windows. So that's why the most important question is, why do I need this validation? Because if you need validation to keep someone else happy but yourself unhappy, then ask yourself, does this person really care about me? And if this person doesn't care about you, so why are you putting your happiness under their happiness? Why are you putting them a priority over yourself? Worth is not based on how they view you as good or if they view you as bad. You need to understand, are you content with your actions? Are you content with your decisions? What you are doing, is it good? Do you feel good doing it? As long as you're not hurting others, that's the most important thing. Number 3, being a slave to your emotions. This is one that I used to struggle with a lot, and I constantly have to cover myself and check myself in this one, because you need to understand emotions are energy and emotions that go up and down. Some days you can feel good, some days you can feel bad, but however, there's one thing that stays constant: your purpose, your virtues, your actions. You need to make sure that everything that you do is in alignment with that. So that's why you can't be a slave to your emotions. What is being a slave to your emotions? You need to understand that you can't control outside events, okay? You can't control outside events, but you can control how you act. So if, say for example, you're an angry person or aggressive, or you like to react back, doing that is going to put you in a low frequency state. Once you get into the low frequency state, you regret the way that you acted, and it's just gonna mess up your vibe like for the whole day. But understand that emotions, they're not good or bad. Feeling happy, feeling sad, they're not good or bad. It's just is an expression of how you feel inside. But what you can't do is you can't be a slave to these emotions. You can't let them control the person you are. Let me give you a good example of what I mean be a slave to your emotions. Sometimes some people can tell you stuff. You see when some people frustrate you, or they tell you stuff and they're angry at you, and then all of a sudden you will calm, and now you're angry and you get into conflict. That is being a slave to your emotions. Why? Because you're giving in to how someone else is reacting to you. So you give them the same energy, and you just broke character. So you are no longer in control of the person that you are, because you've given into these emotions. So the best thing, one thing that's worked for me, is when you get into an argument or there's some sort of conflict, take a moment, breathe, and ask yourself, what I'm about to do, is my next course of action the right thing to do? Like, is this going to further or make a bigger argument? Because if you think about, once the argument is done, what did it end up with? Like, what did we get to? We got to nothing. It's all about who's got a point, who's got that point. It doesn't have to do anything, because at the end of the day, you just become a slave to your emotions because you broke character. It teaches you not to act over impulsive emotion, but with reasoned thoughts. Because you need to understand, sometimes when you feel, that's why they say never make decisions when you're emotional. So sometimes you feel happy and you're like, let me do this, or I'm sad, let me do that. But you need to understand, you need to use your reasoning, because sometimes the way you feel is not the best course of action. Let me give you a good example. When you see people that go out to drink and they're happy, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what, let me just keep on buying drinks, spending money, and then the next day in the morning they regret it so much. And why? Because they let their emotion take over. They were a slave to their emotions, and they didn't reason. They didn't say to themselves, okay, this is my money, I shouldn't be spending this. This is what happens. That's why you can't be a slave to your emotions. Anything that can alter the way you think your emotions is not good. That's why I say to you, vices are not a good thing. Addictions, they're not a good thing, because you are not in control. That is in control of you. So be careful with any addictions that you have, and make sure that you make sure that you're aware of these addictions and try to do something to change. Try to do something about it to change it. Number 4, pursuit of excess pleasures. This one is super important. Me personally, I was a person that always wanted to get what they wanted. This is a quick dopamine rush. It does not exist, because once you get what you want, then what? Then if you get what you want, then what? There's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with wanting to eat nice food. There's nothing wrong with having to experience good things. But you need to understand that there needs to be limits, discipline. You can't get everything that you want, because that leads to emptiness. Because once you have everything, then what next? When it leads to emptiness, it leads to boredom. When it leads to boredom, it leads to addictions. When it leads to addictions, you know where that goes. So that's why you need to be very careful with trying to satisfy every single desire that you have. That's why you need to build discipline. That's why I wake up at 5 a.m. because I don't like waking up at 5 a.m. That's why I work out several times a day, because I don't like working out several times a day. Because why? That creates a balance that you need. Because when you then go out to get that thing that you want, you're deserving of it, because you can't go your life expecting to have everything that you want. That just creates an emptiness inside, because all you're doing is you're becoming a slave to your desires. I want this, I'm gonna get it, and it's a quick dopamine rush. When you don't have what you want, then you feel low, and then you feel upset, and then that's when you go down the wrong spiral. But once you understand that sometimes you don't get everything that you want, and even if you can get it, you have to withhold yourself. For example, for the last 6 months I've been having cold showers. I have no reason to have cold showers. I do it because it's a discipline. Because when you want to do something and you don't give it to yourself, it builds that resistance. Because at the point when you don't get what you want, you become a lot firmer, and you can take things on a lot easier. You can manage it. Then again, your action is stronger than your emotion. And that's the message I want to give here. Number 5, living in the past. This is very similar to point number one, but let me get into this because I get a lot of people message me because of this. They message me because they have broke up from a long-term relationship, from an engagement, a loved one passed away, and I've had some very deep stories. Understand that your story is important. You need to understand what you've gone through is a very sad thing. The passing of a loved one, the breakup of an engagement is sad, but if you stay with that emotion tied into that, the truth is that relationship isn't coming back. The truth is that loved one isn't coming back. As much as you want me to sit here and tell you what you want to hear, I need to tell you what you need to hear. Because you hearing what you need to hear is actually going to help you to progress. Because all you're doing is looking back. You're not going back. As much as you try to say this could have happened, that could have happened, you're not progressing in the now. All you have is now. And then again, it goes back to the future. Then you start overwhelming yourself about the future, but the future doesn't exist. So that's why you can't stay in the past. What can you do? You need to appreciate the moments that you had with this person and understand it was part of your story and those were beautiful moments then. But you have your whole life ahead of you, so you have a lot more beautiful moments now. So imagine your partner, you broke up with your partner and you're upset because this is all you knew. We're scared of the unknown. Us as humans, we're scared of the unknown. What happened in pandemic? The pandemic happened and we were scared because we didn't know what was going on. It's the same thing. When you lose a loved one, when you break up from a relationship, you now enter the unknown because all you knew was that your life was built around this. Understand, appreciate those moments and understand that everything happens for a reason, okay? So understand that at one point, we're all gonna die. Me, in 100 years, I'm gonna cease to exist. The only thing that's gonna exist is this video. This is gonna be the only history of me. So when you understand that at one point we are gonna die is a guarantee, it makes it slightly easier because at one point you're gonna have a loved one, you're gonna have kids, or you can have someone that admires you, and then your time's gonna come when you pass away. But you understand that it's a cycle of life, and understand that as much as your family or your kids at the time or whoever it is, they cry and mourn for you, you're not coming back. And this is the cycle of life. So what would you want them to do? Would you want them to stay sad and upset and days go by and you're not making the most of those days that you have because you don't even know if tomorrow's going to exist? Like, you don't know if tomorrow's happening. So what are you going to do? You accept, you understand, you appreciate, then you fix the now. How do you fix it now? You focus on the daily process. The daily process is that you make sure that whatever you do is aligned to what you want in the future. So at that point, some people say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. Live. How do you live? You need to start putting a routine. That's the most important thing. I don't feel like doing it. You have to do it. You have to do it. That's is the only way, because you staying there, sitting down crying. What has that done for you? It hasn't done anything for you. So now you need to sit down and now start to create your future. Don't think about saying the future and overwhelm yourself. Just create it. How do you create it? Put one step in front of the other today. That's it. So focus on today, 24 hours. What can I do today that's going to make me feel slightly better? That's why I do burpees. It sounds stupid, but you're doing something you've never done before and you start creating a new routine. So I've done something that I didn't want to do today. I feel a lot better. This is scientifically proven. I've done my burpees. I need to self-develop. You need guidance. Why do I read books? Why do I recommend books? Because when you have a problem, who do you go to? You go to people for advice. But most of the time, these people don't even give you the good advice. When you read a book, a self-development book, you read someone's life. A person that wrote a book is roughly the age of 40, 50. They've gone through years of issues, years of problems. What do? They write it down and they condense it in one book. You can read this book in 2 weeks. You read this book in 2 weeks. Now you know how to overcome 50 years of problems in 2 weeks. And that's one person's experience. Remember, there's many different viewpoints of life. So you got one person's experience. You read a second book, another 50 years of experience from a different viewpoint. So now, if in 1 year you read 10 books, and is each life is 50 years, you've now got 500. Is it 500? I'm saying that my maths is not working, but you've got around 5,000 years of experience in 1 year. And now when you have to face a situation, you know how to face the situation because he's done it. So now I know how to overcome it. Let me give you an example for that. If I had a problem with my car and I kept on, I don't know, going over a speed bump, or I kept on putting the wrong liquid inside I don't even know much about cars. I put the wrong liquid in the car bonnet thing, whatever. And it's the wrong liquid, and it's damaging my car. all the time. I'm having to go to the mechanic, I'm having to buy a new car, and it's just costing me a lot of money, and I'm putting this liquid. If then I find out what the issue is and you're starting to have the same issue, and you read the book and I told you the liquid I was putting was the wrong one because I was putting liquid, you're meant to put, I don't know, rice. And then rice is the solution. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna put rice. You're gonna use what I done so you don't have to spend all that money, so you don't have to go all through that years of progress. That's what you're gonna do, is the right thing to do. So that's why you need to just focus on the now and keep moving forward. That's it. Don't overwhelm yourself with the future. Stop thinking about the past. You can go into the past, appreciate the moments, but they'll never come back. But you have so much ahead of you. You don't know what's to come. So the same way you had beauty and everything great then, give opportunity to what's going to come, which is going to be a lot better than what you had before. Trust the process, step by step. Number 6, obsessing about the future. The future doesn't exist. Don't stress about the future. It will come. And how do you create your future? With the things that you do today. You are the person you are today due to your past habits. How do you create those habits? Day by day by day by day, creating the person that you are today. Whether you like the person you are today or not, that's a build up from your habits. How do you change the person you are today? If you don't like the person you are, change your habits. You have to do something different all the time. But how did you get to that? Is the actions of today that build tomorrow. But if you stay obsessing about tomorrow, it freezes you from acting today. And if you don't act today, it affects your future. Do you see the equation? The equation. The only way you can control your future is from your actions of today. If you're obsessing about the future, it freezes you from acting today. And if you freeze to act today, it's going to affect your future. Do you see the equation? That's why focus on what you can do today. Maximize today. Focus on today. What can I do today that's going to make me slightly better than yesterday? Okay, I'm going to read. I'm going to do. You need a routine. It's not about trying to discover something new and crazy every single day. It's about repetition of doing the right things. Because sometimes we need to be patient. You need to understand, let me do this and continue. A good example, going to the gym. That's why I love gym, because gym translates into everything in your life. You go to the gym one day, you know you're doing the right thing. I can tell you doing the right thing. If I tell you lift a weight 100 times every single day, whether you like it or not, you're going to get big arms. Is a byproduct. If you do the right things or create positive habits every single day and you repeat, whether you like it or not, you're going to get good results. Why? Show me your habits and I'll show you your future. It is inevitable. So that's why you need to build up these habits. And patience. Many people don't have the patience, the consistency to stay on one path. Stop trying to do one and then change to the other and change the other. That's why no one gets anywhere. That's why everyone says, I've tried, but I don't get anywhere, because you haven't given it enough time to get anywhere. It's like planting seeds. Every time you start something, you start reading a book, you start going to the gym, you're planting a seed. You put water in it, it's not going to grow the first day. You put water in it, it's not going to grow the next week. You put water in it, it's not going to grow the next month. You put water, then you start to see a little stem. Then you think to yourself, all of this work for a little stem. You start putting water in it, it starts growing. Trust the process, put water in it, continue working, put water in it, keep reading, put water in it, continue waking up at 5 a.m, put water in it, keep going to the gym. Then before you know it, you have a tree that's now giving you fruit. Do you see the picture? Patience. That's what it is patience. Many people don't have the patience. So that's why focus on what you can do today that's going to make you better tomorrow. Don't obsess about the future. It doesn't exist yet. You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. So that's why focus everything that you can do today in a positive manner. If I tell you, if you don't know you're going to wake up tomorrow, what are you going to do today? You're going to go to the maximum. But if you start to think like, oh, I'm going to go out, I'm going to drink, get drunk, you already have the wrong mindset shift. And that's a problem. You need to change that. You need to change that mindset shift to think, I need to do everything I can do to grow, be at a maximum. So that's what you need to focus on. Number 7, and the last mistake to avoid, is seeking perfection in everything. This one is one that I suffered with. I'm a very meticulous person. I'm a person that I like to make sure everything right. If it doesn't go the way I want it to, I'll get upset, I'll get angry. Why is it not going? And then you feel frustrated, you feel low, and then you feel overwhelmed, and then what? Then you want to give up. That was something that happened to me a lot. And that stops you from doing a lot of things. That stops you from starting. And the best way to overcome this is by doing the thing that you don't want to do. So that's what I done. For example, follow me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram already, at Sunwa_, watch my stories. You see that I promote do your uncomfortable every single day. Why do I promote doing my uncomfortable every single day? Because it puts you in a state of learning, understanding that perfection does not exist. You need to understand when you start anything, you're going to be terrible at it the first time. But understand that, because then you start to think, oh, I must look stupid. Then you're looking for external validation. Oh, this person looks so good doing it, I'm not good at doing it. But understand the person that's doing it, the person that looks good doing it, why do they look good doing it? Because they've stayed, they've been consistent, they've stuck to the process, and then they bear the fruit. It's the same thing. When you start, you're going to be terrible. I started boxing. I've always wanted to do boxing. I was very self-conscious, thinking, oh, people are going to laugh at me the way I'm hitting the bag. People do not care. You need to understand the good person started off as you. So you're here, they're here, but they've completed the race. You need to complete the race. I keep on touching my screen because the phone wants to lock. So they've just finished the race. So what do you need to do? Stay consistent and finish the race. Every time I wake up, I go to my 7 a.m. boxing session. I've never done boxing before. The first session was terrible. When I was punching the bag, that was hurting my wrists. But then the second month, I started to notice, okay, I'm getting slightly better now, which is very important. This is the importance of looking at your progress. This is the only time you can look back. Look back and appreciate. I started here. Now I'm not feeling self-conscious. I'm hitting the bags more confidently. I don't really care what they think at this moment. So that's progression. And remember, humans are the only animals, creatures on this earth that need progression. We look for progression in everything else external. We want a better paying house, a better paying job, a better house, a better car. But why do we want this? The car's the same thing, but because us as humans, we want to progress, but we're looking at the wrong things. We're looking at external factors of progression, which is a good thing. But before you look for external factors of progression, look for internal progression, which is you as a person. If you feel lack of confidence, build that confidence. If you feel like you need to lose weight, lose weight. If you feel like you need to start going to the gym, go to the gym. If there's any area in your life that you feel that while you're listening to this, that you need to improve, go to that. Don't hide away from it. Fix that. Get that progression. That's what you need. So that's the importance of stop trying to look for perfection. It's not going to happen. When you're going to start, you're going to be terrible. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't let that bring you down. Keep going. Understand that if you're terrible, it's because you're doing the good thing. You're trying, you're starting. Many people don't try. Many people think about, oh, if I start, I'm going to be like this, I'm going to be like that, and they never start. And that's what many people do. If you start, you become the 1% of people that are actually trying to do something. So that's the importance. That's the importance of trying, because you're never going to be perfect the first time with everything. I wasn't good at the gym. I was very skinny. I was weak. I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't anything. But what did I do? Stuck the process. I knew I wasn't good at the start. Many people were laughing at me. Many people, you're skinny. But then what happened? Stick to the progress. And then people ask, how did you get like that? So if you like this video, please leave a comment down below. If you've got any questions, drop me a DM. I always answer my DMs. Follow me on Instagram so you can see my daily process, and I can teach you how to do that too. DM me 100 on Instagram and I will get back to you. With that being said, let's go.